Joined now by the editor of Think Progress, Faiz Shakir. Faiz, good evening.
Good evening, Keith, and congratulations on your award.
Thank you kindly. Rove in a minute. First, explain this chart to me. Explain the foreign money coming into the chamber that your group is saying the rest of the media is ignoring or pretty much glossing over.
Well, we've established three facts, Keith. One is that the chamber is gladly accepting foreign money. We know that at least $300,000 of that foreign money is coming into a general account, and that general account is used to fund $75 million worth of attack ads. Those are the facts that are largely undisputed. We haven't heard the chamber explain away any of that, and so we had to put together a graphic for much of the media that is hearing the chamber's spin story about the fact that only $100,000 comes from AmChams. AmChams, these independent-based chapters abroad, are only responsible for a tiny amount of the foreign money that they receive. And what we did with the graphic is showed that these business councils and that these foreign companies comprise the bulk of the money that they're receiving. And I think it's important that the chamber have to respond to the fact that they are not only accepting this money, but that some of the money might be trying to influence our elections.
A point that Mr. Biden made in Pennsylvania today, going after Karl Rove and the chamber and others. So the White House just figured this out? The light bulb went on in your neighborhood there?
I guess they could only get stabbed in the back so many times by the chamber. I think, in 2009, the White House had been working with the health insurance companies, the chamber, to try to get health reform passed. And what they learned after that fight was that the health insurance companies who had been working publicly to say that they were dealing with the White House were secretly funneling at least $20 million to the chamber to run attack ads to defeat health reform. And so people realized, I think, in the White House that these people at the Chamber of Commerce are not out to work with them. They're simply a partisan outfit that's out to attack every policy. Of course, we saw that when Wall Street reform came up. They were attacking it without any basis for a lot of the claims that they were making. And so I think now, having gone through a lot of these historical experiences with the Chamber, the White House is now fed up, and we've provided, I think, some good information about what the Chamber's been up to, and I appreciate the fact that the President and the Vice President are making this a national cause.
Mr. Rove playing victim on behalf of what the Vice President called a stable of billionaires and millionaires, which is an apt phrase, especially hearkening back to Mr. Palladino. Does anyone buy this idea, or who is buying the idea that Rove is on the wrong end of the Nixonian enemies list?
Well, you mentioned the Nixonian thing, but Karl Rove was also behind the Whisper campaign during the Texas governor race to call Ann Richards a lesbian. She was behind a smear campaign to suggest that John McCain had a black child in 2000 in South Carolina. He was, of course, behind the outing of Valerie Plame's secret identity at the CIA. He was also behind the outing, or the firing of attorneys at the Justice Department because they wouldn't pursue his partisan agenda. This is the guy who's now telling us that he's upset that the president has an enemies list. It's nonsense, and people should, of course, take it with a grain of salt. What President Obama is doing is documenting some of the facts about what Karl Rove is up to. He's operating a shadow fund that doesn't, I don't think, comply with the law, and he's using this shadow operation to solicit huge amounts of corporate money that we don't know where it's coming from to fund partisan attack ads, and the president's rightfully making everyone aware of that fact.
Briefly, devil's advocate question. The SEIU, the I stands for international. It's an international union. It has 60,000 or so Canadian members. How do we know these filthy Canadians are not contributing $385 to the SEIU campaign ads?
Well, that's the point there, Keith, is that we know where the unions get their money, and it's from unions dues-paying members. It's from hard-working blue-collar folks. And I think, I don't want to diminish the fact that foreign money is coming in. I challenge everybody across the board who might be accepting any foreign money to document how they're receiving it and what they're doing with it, and that applies to SEIU. But let's be clear, the Chamber's problem is on an unprecedented scale. They're running $75 million in advertising, $10.5 million just this week. They're advocating for the companies that outsource jobs and receive a tax loophole for doing so, and now they're trying to outsource our democracy. So I think that they deserve scrutiny on a far higher level scale than anybody else.
Faiz Shakir of ThinkProgress.com. Thank you kindly for your time tonight, sir.
Thanks, Keith.